I got to put myself on there. Welcome to these sci-fi guys. We are here, as with me always is Chad and John. Today we are talking about The Terminator. That's right, the movie that we all love to love just because it's got Arnold saying the best line ever, "I'll be back." So The Terminator. We're going to start with the characters. We've got basically three characters, even though the picture shows four. We've got the Terminator, which is the T-800. We've got Reese, and we have, man, I want to say Carol, but that's not Sarah Connor. Thank you very much. I was getting ready to say something else, but it just went away from me. But anyway, so
Listen, it's
those
not
are
Carol Baskins.
Yeah, I kept saying I want to say Carol, but I know it's Sarah Connor. I don't know. Anyway, so let me remove that from the screen so we can look at each other. Anyway, I've had a fun day today. Lots of medication to make me feel really good. So probably shouldn't be podcasting, but we are anyway. So give it 2 thumbs up. All right, so we're talking about the Terminator today. So we're going to first start up. We're going to try some different stuff tonight. We're actually going to have some different segments. This first segment is going to be what we call motivations, circumstances, and dynamics. What was the motivation for the T-800 or the Terminator? I'll just call it the Terminator from now on. So starting with you, Chad, what was the motivation for him?
Find Sarah Connor and Terminator.
Yeah, but why? I mean, she's just a sweet girl that does nothing.
Supposedly her son led the resistance, almost wiping the machines out in their time. Or to combat this, they had to go back in time and go cheat.
Oh, okay. All right, so John, what was Sarah's motivation in this movie?
Listen, Sarah's fear, fight or flight, and buddy, she was flying. Okay, that's about the only motivation she had. Hey, I see a bunch of people with my name are getting killed. I know something's up. I better figure something out real quick. So her motivation is just survive. Now, eventually, of course, she does meet character number 3 here, and we figure some stuff out. But ultimately, even after that, her motivation is I need to live.
Yeah.
Still fight or flight.
Fight or flight is I love that one. Fight or flight. Yeah, and most of the time for her in most of the movie until the end is probably flight. Get me out of here. Let me go to the cops. Let me get rid of this. Do this. Do that. And okay, so the last character I'll go and talk about him is Kyle Reese. So his motivation was to go back in time and make a baby. No, that's just how it ended up. His motivation was to go back in time and save Sarah Connor from the Terminator because the Terminator got sent first. Good motivation. Okay, so let's go with for all of them actually. Terminator wants to kill Sarah. Sarah wants to stay alive, and Kyle wants to protect her. Makes sense. So let's go with the circumstances on how they met. So let's go with you, John. Who was the first of the trio to meet?
Well, I was just going to say we have a very much a 2.5 Men situation here. Definitely the pop-in of the Terminator there at the start. Honestly, probably one of the weirdest intros I've had to a character, but being thrown back in time, just with literally nothing, and then going out and killing other people, and then finding his way to a phone book and all. His circumstances, he was clearly sent back, and I need a better invention of time machines in the future if that is going to be the case. I will say that. But overall circumstance, Terminator shows up. He shows up with nothing. He finds stuff and he takes care of business. That's his circumstance.
Oh.
Okay, so Chad, then all right, let's go with you with okay, well actually let me go with so Sarah. No, you go. So who was the next one that she met? Or who was the first one that she met? So I'm assuming. So the next person. Well, let me rephrase that. The next person we see is Kyle. We didn't see Sarah yet. You'll talk about Sarah in a minute. So the next person we see is Kyle. Basically, the same thing. He arrives in the buff and walks down the road and tries to yell at somebody. Says, "What year is it?" And no, that was after he met the cop. And the cop
Yeah.
never told him what year it was, but still, then steals the gun and runs away. And so that's about it. Basically, it. Time travel. I'm with John. It better if they ever make time travel. You guys only see me from like here down for here up. I mean, you don't want to see the rest of this, all right? For any of us, all right? We're all so, and I'm sorry, I'm not fluffy. Or I could say I'm fluffy, but I'm not the fluffy, but I'm fluffy. And I don't want to go out in the buff. Nope. Not going to happen. Nope. So Chad, tell us about Sarah. What was the first time you saw her, and what'd you think?
First time you saw her, she's getting into work. Like, hey, no, every normal life going in. Probably first day on the job, waitressing to get by. And meets a little snotty nosed kid to put the ice cream down her pocket. So, to me, is a typical American. But then here comes the Terminator. Went now, started with the first Sarah and killed, and she shares her name on the TV.
Yeah, that would mess me up if I'm, I mean, we all have fairly, I mean, my last name is definitely different. you know, there's plenty of with Chad. There's plenty of people with your last name.
Yeah.
So
Down
if there
there.
ever was, of course, if you can find a phone book here in 2024, that's saying something. I mean, because you can't Google. I mean, you could Google just about anybody, but to Google somebody who lives in the city, in that city or whatever, anyway, you'd have to pay for it and do all that. But and same with John. John has got a fairly common last name, so you guys would be dead before I would. So thumbs up for me.
Or no. See, here's the thing: there are less people with your name, Dave. We would have more people to go through.
That's true. So you guys might get away with it,
especially if we go by the John Tomberlin, because we got John A through John Z in my family. Okay, we got a whole list to make it through. So
then you could say also if it's Jonathan or John or Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of those in the world. I'm fine.
I mean, I have Dave and David
listed name. Nobody's.
Have you guys ever Googled yourself? I mean,
yeah,
it's pretty funny. Some of the stuff. I mean, I know Chad's in IT, so I'm not about to ask, all the security stuff and everything that's out there. But I think it's pretty funny when you do find little bits and pieces about your life that somebody else can find out. Funny thing. Yeah, you can find anything you want on the internet if you're willing to look for it or pay for it or what have you. Okay, so we've been introduced to the characters. So now Chad has some questions for us. So Chad, go with your questions there, sir.
All right. I can get to them because we hit on it. We've seen a couple.
Chad, are you there? I think Chad froze up. So I'll go with his first question then while he's still.
I got it. I'm here. I'm sorry.
Yay, he's back. All right.
We've seen a lot of time travel movies. The movies, this one is a one-shot deal. You can never return back to the time you came from. So I want to go. The question is, what if the Terminator was successful in this movie? How would it change? We know how it would change the future, but how would he stay? Would he go dormant, or would he just keep on killing?
He terminates himself, Chad. It's just game over at that point. He accomplished the mission. It's just self-destruct. I mean, he was programmed for one thing, or we just start the killing early. I mean, one or the other. I think that's just where we get in at.
I think since I know what comes up in the future movies that John doesn't, so that's why I don't want to say too much. However, I think that it would do everything in its power to be able to make sure that the future where the machines were in charge would come to fruition. Not necessarily make sure there wasn't a resistance around, but and to make sure, yeah, and to make sure there wasn't a resistance around. If they got rid of the leader of the resistance, so then basically the machines would be in charge of everything. I think he would make sure that happened, and I would go with that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, Dave, because I don't think he would just go dormant and just go hide in the cave and say, "All right, I'm gonna wait till my year comes up. That way, I reenact the time rat." No, I think he'll see that a stay there and put himself into this. Say, hey, we need to create this and try to maybe fast forward to the future, maybe get there faster than the original timeline.
Right. Yeah. Instead of waiting 500 years or whatever, it only takes 40.
Yeah,
Or whatever the case. I forget in the movie. I think they said it was like
2048.
48.
Yeah,
It was like 50 years in the future.
yeah,
So, but anyway, so we don't say too much about these. We're only going to talk about probably one more Terminator movie. We will eventually talk about Terminator 2 because it's probably one of the best sequels
yeah.
ever. So, John, it will be on our list for sure, just because
Okay,
it
at
is
least.
one of the. It is one of. I'm not lying. I don't care for sequels very much. There are a couple of them out there that are really really good, and actually they're
Me
on our list.
too.
So, but
Terminator 2. I
Terminator
agree with
2
Dave.
is probably in the one of the top three, if not top two sequels ever.
We'll
So
take it.
Yeah,
yeah, you
I
you will
think
you will definitely enjoy it. It'll probably be later on toward the end of the year, but we'll get there.
we get there. It might,
We don't we
but
don't,
the
we
thing
don't
is,
want to do too many too close to each other.
No, 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 no.
if you look at it, they made a Terminator verse. They built off this movie right here and kind of built and went on. So, with that said, see, I know this is about the first one, but the newest installation of Terminator, since I said kind of went on, it went back. It more focused. The latest version back in 2015, the original, the last one I saw was Terminator. I can't remember the name, but it focused on this movie more in stuff timeline. Why would you think they? I know it's a building point, but why would they? The Terminator and the Resistance was focused back here in the 1980s. Not, hey, let's go stop on when he actually did it.
Well, I mean, I think it could go back to the whole thing when we did Back to the Future, that there are certain points in time which are transition points, like 1953, I think it was in Back to the Future,
Well, still,
where you had to get there. Remember even because even they went to in the second one, they had to go back to the original one. That's the only thing I can think of is there's certain points in time in this fictional universe, obviously, that could only be adjusted, and this was one of those times.
yeah,
Ron, you got
So,
anything different?
I mean, I think I had a science teacher back in high school that said science and nature is basically lazy. And everything comes back to basically everything in nature wants to be at rest. That's the simple truth. And at the end of the day, the machines want the easiest possible solution. So I think ultimately, if we follow this whole nature is lazy concept, it's easier just to take care of the problem before it's a problem for you. So I mean, I think this time is important just because it's one of the easiest solutions. Just take out Connor before Connor is even a thing. And so I think part of it's just that lazy aspect. I think it could possibly be the whole like Avengers time travel thing where it's like, oh, we have this 1 in 14 million shot, and the machines just know that, so they keep coming back to that time to try to do stuff. So I think in a lot of ways I agree with you, Dave, but I think part of it too is just like, well, machines know it's just easier to take care of the problem proactively. So let's just go back to before he
Or they
existed and
could
just
know
solve that
that
problem.
or they could know that, hey, we sent one back and it didn't fix the problem, so let's go figure out why it didn't and send one back. We know we can get to that point in time. We know we've transitioned to that exact point, but nothing happened. Nothing changed. So how do we change it?
Yeah.
Although once they went to the police, even though they did wipe out the entire police district, you would think there was records or something on all that. I mean, the guy was showing videos of the stuff. You think something would have survived where they would have been like, this guy was from the future, or at least he says he was, and then this guy comes in here and just kills the entire precinct.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would have started something of a change for the future in some way, whether negative or positive. We don't know. All right, Chad, go with your next question.
Yeah. So with that said, I know we talked a little bit offline, Dave. You thought I was the next question is about, hey, what current actors? So in this movie, in this time frame when this movie was made, so what actors could you see playing these actors, these in these roles, even these supporting roles? I mean, I like the Sarah Connor's friend, boyfriend. I could see was his White Man Can't Jump, Woody Harrelson playing that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I when you sent the question, I did not look at it as back in 1980.
It
What
was
was it? 89?
yeah,
Whatever it was.
somewhere in there.
I was thinking like modern day. Like I
Oh,
was
yeah.
thinking the guy that plays Drax in Avengers. What is it? Dave Bautista?
Oh, Bautista. Oh, would be a
Bautista?
phenomenal Terminator.
That's what I was thinking. He would be either him or
John Cena.
John Cena.
Okay, I didn't go either of those directions, but I agree 100% now.
I mean, and again, I didn't want to go too in depth with every. I mean, Kyle obviously gets killed, and I mean any Joe Schmo could have been him, and I didn't really go too much on Sarah just because I do know that the actress is has to toughen up a little bit. Let's just say it that way. You could see it towards the end of the movie that she was already starting to toughen up, and I couldn't really think of a modern day actress that would fill that role. I really couldn't, without having to go through Avengers, and say, it could be this person or it could be that, without sounding too campy or too corny. So,
yeah.
John, did you have anybody on this?
Is it Winona? Is it Winona Ryder? I could see being Sarah Connor.
Yeah. Okay.
The mom in Stranger Things. I could see her being that.
Yeah.
Because she kind of does fulfill that like weaker to stronger aspect. So I could see her doing Sarah Connor. I was honestly going to think like a Chris v. Chris, Evans versus Hemsworth. One of them be Terminator, one of them be Kyle. I think that could work out either way. I could also see Michael Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan, yeah.
Yeah, he could definitely make a good Terminator too. I mean, he did phenomenal at Killmonger in terms of a villain. And obviously, like we think good hero and villains. I mean, obviously, Avengers is the easy way to go. I mean,
yeah, it really is.
Most
I didn't
of the
really
current
want to
actors
go
anyway.
Yeah,
but actually, this one was done in 1989. You said, right? And was
see, I remember
the girl from Kill Bill. What's her name? Ermin. See, now I think then she could have really done a good job as
for sure.
Sarah Connor also,
Yeah.
So if you had going back to your question,
maybe Cameron Diaz.
Not.
I don't know. She played too many like spy roles.
Yeah, I could think with Terminator is like I could see. Remember Schwarzenegger and Stallone.
Don't you dare say Sylvester Stallone. No, Sylvester Stallone.
I got not Terminator, but they begin fight. But the thing is, I can see more like Wesley Snipes in a role like this.
Yes, I would say that. I could see that a little bit, but not Sylvester Stallone.
Well, see, if we can see that, then Keno could be a great Kyle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reeves could be a great Kyle.
Yeah, you can see that, but he wouldn't do it because he dies. So
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So, all right. Okay.
I
Oh,
got
you got one more
one
question.
more.
Yeah. Good one. One
So,
good question.
all right. So the big question here is: would you trust the AI or would you trust the human error? Knowing, well, like so, we all know this has always been leading up to AI, and so we've been doing a lot of stuff asking about AI. So, and what happened, it kept leading into this. It didn't tell you the year it was going to happen. So, would you trust AI, put all the factors in AI, or just keep human error?
As a society, or as am I a CEO of a company?
As a,
I
either
mean,
one.
honestly, well, if I'm in modern America and I am a CEO of a company, I'm going to take human error out of it all day long because I know a machine will say they will put that bolt right there every time, and that's going to save me money, and that's going to make me money. Like I said, if I'm in a capitalistic society, that's what I would do for the human race. I've seen too many of these science fiction movies, and I know how too many of them end. So I would not follow the AI. However,
No.
again, it really depends. I mean, as what's your end goal? What's your end game? As a CEO, and I'm in America. I'm here making money, and I'm going to make it. I'm going to get rid of the human aspect and put a machine that's going to put the same place every time, so I don't have to deal with it.
Okay, say like this: you're a
John, well,
CEO.
hey, John's got to give his 2 cents, and then you can rebuttal us.
Well, I'll say my ultimate rebuttal overall, and here's my problem in general in the world, and that is nothing is perfect. So even AI, if we really get down to it, was human made at some point. Therefore, it
True,
is going to be built with flaws. No matter how good we get it, it's going to be built with flaws. So
unless it
regardless,
becomes
I think we're
self-aware,
safe.
and
It
even
doesn't
then,
matter if it
it's going to
becomes
have
self-aware. Even then, generationally, it was built with flaws. There's nothing
true.
perfect in this world. So I think ultimately, no matter what, AI, if it becomes human enough, well, at that point, it's been endued with our flaws. So at some point, it's going to make mistakes and fail too, even if it's way more efficient than we could ever be. And so either way, I'm kind of okay, but already seeing where AI has been taken in terms of videos and other things, like I personally do not trust it at all. I get the point of it. I get where it's meant to increase productivity, but I don't trust what it can do. I don't trust in the long run how error filled it could get, or at
Oh
least
yeah,
make us question stuff more. Like I just ultimately I don't trust it. So if we're gonna say go with human error or go with AI, I definitely err on the side of caution with human error, because to me, no matter what, AI is going to end up flawed in some way, shape, or form, regardless. So why not just go with the old trusty humans and give some people some paychecks?
See,
okay, Chad.
with the, with Dave's thing is you're saying CEO of a manufacturer. Okay, let's say this: you're the CEO of a defense contractor, and you're there. Hey, I'm gonna push AI to. Hey, I
War
want to get these
games,
people.
right?
Yeah, go back to
Is that
war
what you
games.
said? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh no, no,
you.
no, no, no. See, I would no. I'm the military. No, 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 no. We do not. I would not do. Okay, maybe I'm probably getting robotics and AI mixed up when I mentioned earlier, and I'm now that I need to probably go back and retract that. And I agree with what John said totally. I mean, you don't, especially. I mean, recently I've seen some of these, like right now. This week is the first week of NFL free agency, and they're constantly taking pictures of the players and then they're putting them in their new uniforms. Well, even the AI, some of the ones are doing it, it just looks wrong. You know, the way they do it, and I'm just like, okay, but it thinks it's right. And it's just like, all right, I can see that, but and like John said earlier, they're going to make mistakes. AI is going to make mistakes until it becomes a self-aware entity that learns from its mistakes. Until that point, it's and again, it's just like human beings. We're the same way. We are a flawed people. We make mistakes and we learn from them, and hopefully not make the same mistakes more than once.
Yeah.
So,
See, I agree with John. AI is gonna have some human error because gotta be built, but our error calls a human. uh, because the thing is, I don't know if it really states it where the AI in this movie comes from. I know it does in the second movie, and that's why I don't want to I want to hit around it.
yeah.
But so error side of caution. I know. Kyle told Sarah to explain what was going on. These machines learn and say, hey, the humans is bad for the world. Let's just go kill all humans and get rid of them. We're under termination. He was trying to explain all that. So yeah, our error on the side of the human error not to have this happen.
Yeah, I don't know. We shall see in the next movie. How about that?
Yeah,
And
we'll
with
be
that,
back.
There you go.
yeah. As Arnold will say, we'll be back. Oh, speaking of which, it's so funny when you're going through feeds on. I don't have TikTok, but I got Facebook, and every so often I just kind of scroll through stuff. And there was an interview with Arnold asking about the famous line, I'll be back," and um, he actually he was explaining. He said, "Yeah," he's like he was talking to the writer, and the writer said, "Yeah, no, you need to say it that way." And he's like, "Well, I think I should say it. I will be back." And then he's like, "No, it's I'll be back. Just leave it at that. It's fine." And he's like, "But it doesn't sound right." And he's like, "No, it's fine. He's like, and then finally, he's like, "Look, I'm the writer. You're the actor. You do what I say." And then he's like, "Okay, fine, be that way."
I'll pull Argolia.
Yeah, seriously. Then Arnold was like, "Fine, be that way." And then, of course, they had the opening premiere, and then, of course, everyone sees Arnold outside. They're like, "Say the line, say the line," and he's like, "What line?" He's like, "Come on, I'll be back." And of course, it was an instant hit. So of course, he had to call. He called the writer, and he's like, "You were right." So
Well, yeah, like I said, I told you, I scrolled through, I don't know, YouTube, I forgot, but it was something talking about, it was a low budget film, that one scene with him punching their window in the station wagon. It wasn't permanent, it wasn't their car, he just punched somebody's window out and reached in to say, hey, this is Will.
all right, so we're going to go to our next segment. The next segment is called Plot Holes. I see any holes in this movie? Anybody? See, I saw just one, but this is a brand new segment. We're just trying this out for those of you on land. I kind of threw this on these guys at the last minute, so they may not have been looking for them. So future episodes will be looking for plot holes also. I'll start out. There was one plot hole. This is right towards the end of the movie where Sarah is being chased by the mechanical. This guy right here on the end. This guy on the end, all right, when he was actually no Arnold looking T800, and he was climbing through the press, and she just waited there and waited, and then she knew exactly which button to push without looking at him. There was like 4 buttons. How did she know Terminator? You're Terminator. To me that's a plot hole because she didn't even look over there at all.
No, she didn't. She just grabbed
Big red
oh, there
button.
you go.
Yeah, and it wasn't a red button; it was a yellow button. The red one was the emergency stop, and she didn't touch that one. So
Green should be go, yellow.
yeah, to me that was a plot hole. Did you guys see any other plot holes in this?
Well, I don't
Not
know.
going into other movies, Chad. Not going into other movies. Just this one.
No, I'm not. But This is the beginning when their car chase, when Arnold's in the cop car trying to look for him, but they switched cars to a Cadillac.
Ah,
All that time there talking. Why the hell he didn't crank up and go before Arnold showed up?
yeah, yep.
I mean, my big plot hole in general is part of the premise of the film almost sets up like a Groundhog Day like loop, because like all of those events just have to keep happening in kind of a big loop. Now I understand there's like the future that still happens past this loop, but like if those two don't come back, John Connor is not existing. So the coming back is what creates the existence, which is what they're trying to stop. So
Yeah.
like to me, that is just one big loop that has to keep happening forever, or else none of the future happens the way it should.
Yeah, which is so weird because the Terminators, we'll just call them that, the robots, they're the ones that started the resistance. Because if they would have never had the time machine, Kyle would have never come back, and John Connor would have never been born.
And that's
Hold
it.
on.
Like they
Yeah.
set up their own problem here.
They set up their own problem. Okay, there was one more. There was one more plot hole. Okay, this was 1989 when this was released, so we're talking 1980s. Okay, you could not go to a gun store and buy an Uzi. They were still
No.
illegal then, And he just like, oh, I want the Uzi 9mm, And he's like, oh, good weapon. I'm sorry, that's another plot. You could not buy automatic weapons back then either. You
No.
could buy
That's in California.
but you could not buy automatic weapons even then. Sorry. I mean, even though Miami Vice made it look like, hey, everybody's got an Uzi. You've got an like Oprah was giving out Uzi. You've got an Uzi. You've got an Uzi. You've got an Uzi. It's just that's just movies and TV shows. I'm sorry. It's just you couldn't. Those were even illegal back then. So much less having one on there and having shotgun shells right in on your counter when the guy gives you a gun. I'm sorry. That would have been a better scene. Would have been Arnold reaching across and just snapping the guy's neck or something, or let him get shot and the guy's like, what? And then Arnold jumps over the thing and kills him. To me, that would have been a better effect than, being stupid enough to keep shotgun shells on your counter and give him a shotgun. I mean, come on. So, okay, we did that. Okay, now we're going to do, all right, so this is a different segment. I'm gonna get some slides for this. I didn't get time to get this one, but we're either gonna give it a thumbs up or we're gonna give it a thumbs down. So starting with Chad, you've seen all the series. I haven't seen the latest, I don't think, but we're not counting all those. You're just counting this movie standalone. What do you give it? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs up. All right, John. This was your first time watching this. What do you give this movie?
See, and that's where we got to keep it tense now. You see, I could go either way, but I'm not, because it's an easy thumbs up. It was a very entertaining movie, just all around, and definitely doesn't scrape anywhere near the bottom of the list of movies we've watched. I mean, we already had our rankings. It's, I mean, probably
wait till the end of
top of my mid.
2024. Because we only started the pod last year, like towards the end, like what was it, September, August?
Yeah,
I mean, it was
something
like
that.
it was like maybe half a year, and we had trouble coming up with our top five, our bottom fives, top five. So I can imagine when we get through the entire year this year, because we're going to have a lot more movies to go through.
So. I don't want to, but I it still probably plays like top of my mid, bottom of my top, somewhere in that range. So I mean, definitely entertaining, not like hoorah top of the top for me, but still very good. I definitely give it that credit.
Good. And I'll give it a thumbs up. Also, gotta remember where the camera is. I love the Terminator series. I love this movie. I just thought that it was so enjoyable to see, even though some of it was, I mean, especially now, I was talking to Chad offline with this, especially now with our big HD TVs and all that, you could tell it was much lower budget than, say, Total Recall we did, back a few months ago, and then when they did the mask and all that on Total Recall, how it actually looked pretty good. While this one, several of the scenes of Arnold didn't even look like Arnold at all. I mean, you could tell that it wasn't as high a budget of this one as, say, that one. But of course, also that one was much newer compared to when this one came out, too. So, all right, with that, all right, you guys, we want you guys to contact us. I did get one on our last one. It was actually somebody had made a message on there about son. So much on there. Anyway, you guys can contact us. Leave comments right down below here at YouTube, or email us sci-fi guys@gmail.com, or you can reach us on X at TheseSciFiGuys. All right, we have all that. Where am I at? I'm clicking here. What's my last thing? Oh yeah. And with that, I think we're done for the day. This is going to be a little bit longer of an episode, and they may be this long from now on. We don't know. We're all trying some new stuff just for you guys out there. All right. We appreciate you listening, and until next time, peace.
Hey, what's that next movie?
Actually, I didn't stop the video yet. This is a special because Chad was saying it right.
I was saying, way to leave him in suspense, Chad. No, I was hoping we would end it.
Or next time, we're going to be watching Sylvester Stallone. I am the law. Judge Dredd. All right, so
wonderful.
I am the law.
I am the law. You'll get that line later. Anyway, I'm not going to do the outro again, but thank you guys. Later.